Hey folks, my name is Mo Amir and this is VANCOLOUR, British Columbia's bona fide culture and politics TV talk show. As we continue our coverage of the provincial election campaign, one thing has become clear. It's a gong show. Some candidates lost in the shuffle of the BC United, BC Conservative collaboration are going independent. An independent candidate is even suing her former party, and there are rumors of more lawsuits. Kyla Lee will be here to explain who may have a legitimate case. Of course, we're still going to talk about the issues as we kick off our candidate series tonight. The BC Greens are up first to talk about the public health risks of natural gas. Is your gas-powered stove killing you? We'll find out together. But first, I keep hearing that US-style politics are being imported into our election. Is that true? What does that even mean? Here to discuss is a partner of Fairview Strategy. He managed BC United leader Kevin Falcon's leadership campaign and Ken Sims' Vancouver mayoral campaign, both successfully. He is Kareem Allam. Kareem, what a pleasure. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for that introduction. I think as time goes on, I don't want to be introduced as Kevin Falcon's campaign manager, but it's true history.
At least for this election cycle. Speaking of which, in this election cycle, the BC NDP keep accusing the BC Conservatives for importing US-style politics. And then I see the BC NDP invoking US politics with images of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and trying to draw that contrast between the NDP and the Conservatives. So are BC politics Americanized now?
I think the answer is yes. I think all your viewers at home know the answer is yes. We want to be in denial about it. We want to say that we're different. But when you look at the level of discourse,
different and better
and more sophisticated and thoughtful and more policy oriented. But our politics has also become very nativist. It's become very tribal. We just got out of the field on some polling. And historically, when you would ask a party, why are you voting, or an individual respondent, why are you voting for David Eby or Sonia Thurston or John Russet? The answer tends to be policy aligned to what those parties are most known for,
Sure.
Green, tax cuts. What we're now starting to see is what we've been seeing in the United States for 10 years, which is the reason why I'm supporting the NDP is because I identify as a New Democrat. I identify as a conservative. I identify as a Green.
Oh, it's like tribal.
It's become exactly that. It's tribal. Wow. It's identity. People, and ironically, the party that was least tied to identity in our research was the BC United.
Who performed very poorly in the polls, at least.
Who performed very poorly.
Yeah.
So that could maybe sort of explain that no one in the public really identified with the party anymore. It certainly had walked away from some of its trademark positions. But the point of the matter is, in the United States, people vote Democrat because they are Democrats. And they associate with Democrats. The other thing that we're starting to see is people justifying some of the crazier thing that their candidates in their own party do because, well, that's what the Conservatives believe, and I'm just going to back it no matter what.
Right.
Whereas before, the public could really turn off a campaign quite quickly because of angry, misinformed tweets or comments in the media. You remember, ex-MPs like Jim Pankey going off and drawing comparisons between liberals and certain, dark corners of our society and getting expelled from caucus. Now everyone's just doubling down on their candidates' insane, crazy comments. And the public's accepting it because, well, that's just what we believe in. That's just what we are as conservatives, as New Democrats, as liberals federally.
One thing that I've noticed is that we're starting to see attacks on public servants, particularly Dr. Bonnie Henry. Is this just negative campaigning in its newest iteration, or is this something different?
It's again another sign of the Americanization of our political system. Remember all the attacks on Anthony Fauci in the United States,
right?
So that's happening here. The irony, though, is you saw some negative ads from the Conservatives about Dr. Bonnie Henry, and we
they want to fire her.
They want to fire her.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing because our polling shows that she's plus 25 in terms of her favorability rating, higher than any other politicians in BC. Even with BC Conservatives, but amongst BC Conservatives, she's negative 17. She's underwater with it. So if you're likely Conservative voter, you likely don't like Bonnie Henry to the tune of about 17%. When you get to Justin Trudeau among the federal Conservatives and provincial Conservatives, it's minus 85%. So Bonnie Henry is much more popular than Justin Trudeau, and maybe there's a line for the Conservatives to try to associate, their opponents with Justin Trudeau rather than Bonnie Henry, who is still quite popular. But yeah, being associated with Bonnie Henry likely is a vote getter for you, not something that chases votes away.
Now, ultimately, what is the consequence of this Americanization in our own politics?
The consequence is quite severe and quite serious. The level of discourse has dropped. We're not debating facts. We're not debating issues that everything's become hyper ideological. And we're also politicizing issues that in the past we would have been reluctant to politicize.
Like what?
Well, the drug crisis. The drug crisis is a national crisis. It warrants the best and the brightest of our society to come together in a risk-free, open environment and trade on the best ideas that we have.
Right.
Back in the 60s, to go back into far history, Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives agreed that fighting Russian aggression and Russian expansion was a good thing.
Right.
There was agreement between parties. The tactics on how to do it was different. The Republicans and conservatives wanted to put lasers in space, and Democrats wanted to win it by fight back Soviet aggression by winning hearts and minds. But we can't even have a debate about what's right. Ronald Reagan would be rolling in his grave right now, knowing that conservatives don't support Ukraine and are supporting Russia. So we can't even agree on what the baseline is for society. And as society continues to bifurcate, it's easier for foreign actors to play on these.
And you think that's happening here in BC?
Absolutely, it's happening here in BC. Tenet Media is under investigation from the Department of Justice, and I'm not going to comment on what those things are because I haven't read the Department of Justice report. But some of those Tenet Media people were here right in the lower mainland.
BC personalities, yeah.
Or BC BC personalities. And we've seen all the coverage on Chinese foreign interference, even American foreign interference. So to the degree that we can't all agree on what's in the nation's interest anymore, and we can't agree on when it's time to lay our partisan swords and work together as Canadians on issues. We could put a man on the moon. We all work together to do that. The drug crisis, it warrants our best and our brightest to have a free, safe exchange of ideas to really, really try to advance the cause of this issue. And that's not happening. It's easier. And we've seen how dangerous this has gotten in history. Chinese head tax, people campaigned on a Chinese head tax. People campaigned on and tried to politicize Japanese internment. When things get really, really, really tense, we have really, really bad outcomes. So it's incumbent on us to have civilized, thoughtful, intelligent discourse rather than hyper-politicizing the weakest and the most underprivileged in our society.
Well, on that optimistic note, thank you so much for your time, Kareem, and I hope to have you back here on the show sometime soon.
Looking forward to it. Well, thanks for having me.
Folks, that's a partner of Fairview Strategy, Kareem Allam. Now, after some business, is my gas stove slowly killing me? Is fracking for natural gas impacting our public health? A BC Greens candidate will be here to talk about it up next.